sorry, I just burped.
It's the Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast!
Welcome to the Pup Fresh Podcast, episode number 8. Later on in the show, there's going to be an interview with Sierra from Versa Emerge, Critter, whatever you know her as. She's on the show. My buddy Jon from Alter the Press interviewed her, and he's actually joining me right now as my co-host this week on the Pup Fresh Podcast. Why don't you say hi to everybody, Jon?
What's up, everybody?
See, that's Jon for you. Him and I have been friends now for a long time, and we've wanted to do something together, and we figured that the Pup Fresh Podcast was a perfect opportunity to, I don't know, collab, I guess. And so now here we are, and I really liked the interview that you did with Sierra, and I think the fans are going to like it too. You got into a lot of cool topics. She talked about some of her old jobs. She talked about Fueled By Ramen. She talked about where the band is headed, and it was just a really good in-depth interview. What kind of inspired you to reach out to her and want to talk to her?
It was pretty interesting because I was always a fan of Versa Emerge ever since they came out. I loved their debut album. I really liked their EP, and ever since they parted ways with their label and they started their new project, and ever since then, there just really wasn't that much info out there. There wasn't really much press. And ever since they came back as their new incarnation as Versa, there really wasn't much. And I felt like there was a really big story to tell. And this was really just asking from like a fan standpoint, and just asking because there's got to be a really interesting story here. And there was. And I think people are going to be surprised. And there's a lot of interesting stuff, like what's happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, and again, I enjoyed the interview myself. The start time to that interview is going to be in the description below for any of you that want to skip ahead of me and Jon talking, which I don't know why you would want to do that because we're such charming young lads, wouldn't you say?
We're awesome.
Yeah. So Warped Tour just happened, and did you watch any of the live stream?
Unfortunately, no, I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't. I know you did. I was a big fan of your tweets throughout the day. This is one of the things that draws me to you, man. That you just say some hilarious stuff. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I watched like 9 hours of it, and it was just such a grueling day because anytime you're on a computer chair watching Warped Tour for 9 hours, it's not as good as advertised, I guess. We actually got a Twitter question in from Trey_SLS wants to know, are you more or less impressed with Warped after watching the webcast? I joke around and say that I wasn't into the Warped webcast, but I mean, I think I'm more impressed with it because I was able to see bands that I never checked out before, like Citizen, who are, crazy enough from Michigan that I never had a chance to listen to. And I liked their performance. I liked Moose Blood. They were amazing. And, it was just cool to see some of my old favorites like Motion City Soundtrack. As It Is played, I'm a fan of theirs. And I got to watch Paris play too. So, I mean, it was all right. It was good. But then I had to sit through like Attila and Metro Station. And that's did
Metro Station have a big turnout?
Honestly, I don't remember. I just try to, they're probably as big as you'd expect it to be.
Oh, that's good. But I think a lot of people went to hear the songs. I think a lot of nostalgia, really, and I get that.
Yeah, I think that Trey Cyrus and Ronnie Radke are like doppelgangers of each other. Like they look so similar to me. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the webcast was all right. Warped, everybody's all stoked about these set lists that we're posting and things like that. And it's just like Warped Tour, while it's cool for what it is, it's like seeing a band play for 30 minutes. It's just, they're not an opening band. Festivals are just so weird because you get a little of everything, and I kind of would rather have a lot of one thing. You know what I mean? But
that's not even traditional with festivals. Like you go to any other festival, like Governor's Ball or Firefly Festival, people play like much more than 6 songs. Like that's a very short set list.
Yeah, I mean these bands on Warped are playing like 6 to 8 songs, and people, are like, "Yo, give me this set list, give me this set list." It's like, dude, just pick the band's like 4 most famous songs, and then add in a new song and a cover, and that's going to be their Warped Tour set list. I don't know what all the hype and excitement is over it, or why people get disappointed that they're not playing like the most obscure song from their most obscure album. Like, what do you expect? It's going to be the hits, and so.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not their show. It's Warped Tour, and that's what you expect.
Right. And then I was kind of bummed out with the webcast because can you believe this? They didn't even stream like Pierce the Veil set.
That's weird. I feel like there's got to be something where they didn't want to, or there's got to be something going on there.
Yeah, I thought that was odd, but Black Veil Brides was the last band that played, and they seem like they're so far above Warped Tour. I don't know if you ever checked out that band. They just seem like they're like the biggest metal band of the 80s ever. Like their like whole aesthetic and everything they have going on is so cool, but it's also something that I would never personally get into. You know what I mean? Like, they just look like they fucking belong in a league of their own outside of Warped. As does, like, somebody like, what's her name? Baby Rexha?
Baby Rexha?
Baby Rexha.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
How do you say her name? I don't know, but she's amazing. Like, her voice, like, she's fucking huge. I think that she transcends Warped Tour. She's going to be huge. You know, and I'm sure that you're a fan of hers.
I've actually don't think I've listened to her music, but I'm going to try and make it to that Nick Jonas tour. And yeah, I'm definitely going to make a point of getting there early to see her.
Yeah, you should. She's great. Are you listening to anything new lately?
I just listened to the new Simple Plan song that came out on Monday, and I was definitely impressed. It's everything you expect and more from a Simple Plan song. It's catchy. It's such a great hook. The melody is awesome. It's everything you expect from the Simple Plan. It's that catchy Simple Plan sound, and it's just the bottom line is they can't write a bad song. They know what they're doing, and they're not a band that's just writing music for the hell of it and that's just putting out the same old generic crap. They're actually genuinely putting out good music, and you can tell they're really working hard. Like, you can tell they're really trying to still stay relevant and write great music. I know it's weird because in the US it's a different story, but in Canada and international they kill it. They still kill it.
Yeah, and they're a good band. I remember back in the day when I was like in 5th grade watching Degrassi on the N, they would always play music videos, and I remember there was Hey Ya by Outkast, Space by Something Corporate, and Perfect by Simple Plan. So I always have that little attachment to Simple Plan because they were, you know, one of those like music videos I remember when I was just then getting into music. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, well, make sure you go see them at the Michigan date of Warped Tour. They're going to be there.
Are they? Because what are they playing? Like 4 dates of Warped?
Yeah, they're playing like 4 or 5 dates, and they've been playing the Michigan date. So yeah, definitely. I think you should definitely go if you're going this year, and absolutely check them out if you are, because they put on an incredible show, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of songs you recognize. And they're just a fun live band to watch. Even people who don't like their music will turn around and admit, okay, they're a good live band. I'll give them that.
So besides Simple Plan, what else are you listening to?
I'm listening to that new Halsey song that she dropped a few weeks ago called Hold Me Down. It's just an album track from her new album, which is coming out, in August. End of August. And anyone who hasn't listened to her yet, make sure you do. She's incredibly talented, and you're going to love the song she's put out already. And also, I actually just listened to the new Hilary Duff album. I can't really judge because I've only listened to it once. I wasn't that impressed the first time round, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? You might come around and Hilary Duff
Maybe I'll have it second time round.
Yeah, she may meet your expectations there because you know Hilary Duff, high expectations after Lizzie McGuire, you know, in the Lizzie McGuire movie, you expect her to have a hit album.
I forgot what it was like. When You Wish Upon a Star. I can't remember. There was like one big song she had.
I don't know what you're expecting when you listen to Hilary Duff, but you know.
Dude, I would totally see her on tour though.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would, you know, want to get a selfie with her and cartoon her.
Cartooner.
Yeah. Cartoon Hilary Duff. I would like to take a picture with you, please, for my Lizzie McGuire selfie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm getting into old Michigan local bands, I guess, or at least one of them. I've been listening to Your Best Friend. And I just had John from that band on the show because his new band, American Opera, is on Warped Tour doing the Acoustic Basement. And I went back and listened to Your Best Friend, and they're unbelievable. I also just checked out the band Traveler from Michigan, and they're worth checking out a second time and a third time and probably, you know, a 10th time. They're really good. But other than that, I mean, I've just been bumping that new 21 Pilots album all day, every day, because that album is unbelievable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. They're actually a band... I've never really given them the chance. It's so weird. I actually asked someone who writes Falls to the Press, and I said, do you think we should be really talking about them more? Because I actually really haven't listened to them, but they're doing so well. They're doing so great. And I've heard nothing but nice things about them personally. And yeah, I feel like I should be checking them out. And Echo Smith is opening up for them this fall. So I feel like I really should be checking them out.
Right. And you know what? Like, okay, so like Pierce the Veil just released their new song. Like a new song, Divine Zero or something, whatever the name is. I wasn't really blown away by it. You know, I think it was just a safe Pierce the Veil song where you're like, okay, like, this is Pierce the Veil. No, we're not throwing any curveballs. We're not really changing anything. Wouldn't you agree with me?
Absolutely, absolutely. They're actually one band in that like genre that falls under that, which I generally do like. I really like their last album, and I listened to this new song. Yeah, it was just a standard Pierce the Veil song, but I understand it was a song because they haven't released anything in 3 years. They're gearing up for Warped Tour, so it makes sense, and I think it's better than not releasing a new song. So yeah, good for them.
I agree with you there. But like when I heard the new 21 Pilots album, I was like blown away. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like with the new Pierce the Veil song, it's not anything to really like, I don't know. It's not gonna like take them to new heights or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I just kind of took it for what it was, because I mean,
I'm sure
it
it's
is
single. I'm sure it's not like the single.
Right. I hope it's not, because I just don't think that it's good enough to be. I don't think that it's bad, but I don't think it's good enough to be like the next like Pierce the Veil song. Because I mean that band is great, but you know what I mean, in terms of getting them to like that next level, I don't think this song's gonna do it. All right, so we're not gonna bore you anymore with our talking. John, it's really great to have you on as a guest host, and the interview that you did with Sierra is great. And so without any further ado, well, actually, I'll let you introduce the interview because it is your interview.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the interview. I know I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm glad we could share this today.
Pup Fresh Podcast!
Hey, Sierra. How's it going today?
It is just going great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let's dive right in. Everybody knows you, singer of Versa, your new project Critter, formerly Versa Merge, and
Yes.
let's address the elephant in the room right now. So, so Versa Merge, I want to start things off and just really tell you and be honest. I was a huge fan, and I was obsessed with the debut record. I loved the EP, and like most fans, pretty disappointed there really wasn't a follow-up. So really, just what exactly really happened?
We've never really explained it because it was just such a fucking ordeal that it was like, what is the point of talking about it? And it was like such a nightmare that we just don't want to go over it, and we decided to move on. But basically what ended up happening was, we did write a whole record. We made a whole entire album, and there was some miscommunications going on between the label and the producers, and basically it's hard to explain because there's like so much business and politics involved in the music industry, and basically Blake and us as people and our music got caught up in the middle of such a bullshit scenario between business and producers, and who's getting credited for what, people not getting paid enough, and there's just a lot of miscommunication. So the record never got signed off, and if the record doesn't get signed off, then we legally can't put it out, and nothing was getting compromised between people. So it got to the point where we're just sitting on this music that we can't release. And then we had some, disagreements with the label, and we kept writing for another year. So after we'd done this record and finished it, we kept writing more music, and we traveled a lot. We wrote with everybody. It was a really great experience. It sucked that we weren't putting out music and touring at the time. But then it got to the point where we're just writing music now, and we're in all these writing sessions, and we're like, okay, so when are we going to tour? Like, when are we going to put something out? And we were going with the flow, and then we realized that we didn't like what was happening and that nothing was happening. So we decided to part ways with the label. And, I don't want to burn any bridges. I don't hate anybody. We don't have any, bad stuff going on. It just wasn't working out. And then there was two different interests and we were getting left behind. And so we decided to leave the label and take a hiatus and gather ourselves, figure out what we wanted to do. And now we're kind of deciding that we want to start a band again. But we needed the time off. It was such a mess, and it kind of took a toll on both of us. I was extremely upset. I was depressed for a long time about it. So we kind of needed the time off to recoup and, grow up. Because when you're 17 and you tour for 6 years straight and that's all you know, and now you're 20-something and you're like, what do I do? So we really needed the time off. And of course, when we took our time off, we changed our name to Versa and we put out that EP, and then we decided that we still kind of weren't ready and we wanted to take a break and started working on other projects and started writing for other people. And Blake wanted to, become a better producer. So he did this record for this band called Paris, and we kind of just picked up other projects and took time off. And now we're about to start up again, though. So that's good news.
So whatever happened to this record? So you did record a record. You record another full length. So where is this right now? You have this body of work. Is it just literally sitting with Fueled by Ramen?
Here. I mean, it was, I guess, it's on people's Dropbox in the world. I don't know. We took the songs that we liked the most. No Consequences, Bones, those were songs that were on the record that we got released. We ended up getting the music back. So all the music's ours now. So we could potentially put out that record, but we just fell out of love with the songs. We didn't like them as much. And because when you have so much time that passes, we listen to the songs and we're like, this doesn't make sense for us to put out anymore. It's a year later or maybe a year and a half later. These songs are so old and they don't mean anything to us anymore. And I know that's unfortunate to hear because no one's heard them, but that's how it kind of was for us. We just kind of fell in love with we fell out of love with the record. And it's not that it was bad, but it's just it wouldn't work now. And we took the songs that we liked the most. Like I said, that was No Consequences, Bones, Domesticated, and then we have some other songs that we haven't released that we did write in that time period that we actually are going to put out this year. The record was going to be called Another Atmosphere. We have a song called Another Atmosphere that we're going to release first, I'm pretty sure. We've already shot a music video for it and everything, and we're going to put it out eventually. We're just getting our shit together right now.
Wow, so that's definitely a lot to digest. And would you say everything now moving forward after, like a lot of artists have a rocky experience with a major label, you're just going to go down the self-release route?
We are, because I guess we just don't know what we want from a label. I mean, the promotion from a label is really good. They give you money so you can do your shit. That's what a label does, and that's awesome. And Fueled by Ramen did that for us. We wouldn't be the Versa merge that if it wasn't for Fueled by Ramen, and that's a fact. So that's why I can't sit here and be like, oh, fuck all labels, because it's the music industry is the worst industry. It is not a good one. That's a fact too, but it does help bands. But I think we do have awesome fan base. A lot of people kind of fucked off and don't care about us anymore because we're basically not a band. Some people only like Versa Merge, but we have our core fan base, which I think is really supportive and there for us. And they're still asking every day, where are you guys? We're here for you, And I love that. And I think that we can build off of that right now. So that's why we're not trying to, jump on another label and start this shit all over again. We're going to do it ourselves. I mentioned we've been talking about crowdfunding. Maybe I spoke too soon when I talked about it, because now everybody's like, oh my gosh, they're crowdfunding a new record. But we are going to crowdfund when the time is right and do a record ourselves, and just kind of like dip our toes in the water, see how much we can do on our own, no matter how hard it is. And then from there, if like a label's interested, but yeah, maybe we'll sign again, but it's got to be the right circumstances, and we have to be in more control. Because, you know, when you sign to a label when you're like 17, you know, you don't really give a shit. You're like, yeah, sure, sign me. And you don't really like pay attention to like the detail. At least I didn't. So I think we do that more now.
Oh, no, for sure. No, I totally get that. And especially with Versa and the Versa EP, the way I saw it was, and because you changed your name, you dropped the Emerge, went straight to Versa. And was it kind of like, because you did the music direction you went in was kind of a 180, so to speak. So was it really because you couldn't use the name anymore, Versa Emerge, or is it just because this is the direction we're going? We're going to put it release the music under a new moniker. Versamerge is our name. Like, we could keep that. That's all good. We actually tried to change our name to Versa a long time ago, and the label denied. They said, you know, we've already branded Versa Emerge so hard, it's pointless to change your name. Which we understood. We were like, yeah, I know, but we really just want to be Versa because it's just more universal and it's easier, and I don't know. We just really liked Versa. So when we did leave the label and the music was definitely different, we're like, fuck it, let's change it. So yeah, that's why we did it. We didn't do it because we had to. We did it because we wanted to, and because it was supposed to be a totally different band. But you can't really like leave your past behind, especially if the name's kind of similar. But we wanted to be like, this is a new band. This isn't Versa Emerge. This is different. And it is a 180. The music was totally different, but that's what happens when you grow up and your tastes change, and it's just what came out of us, you know? No, absolutely. No, I get that.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we know Blake, he was with Paris overseas recently, or maybe he's still there, but I know he's doing that. And so what have you been up to personally? Because obviously I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, so what's Sierra been up to? I know you're doing your side project, Critter.
Yeah, Critter's just for fun because, I feel bad because like on Instagram I just post like all this bullshit I'm doing. Everybody's like, hello, what are you doing? Are you making music? And it's like, no, I'm having fun right now. I have been working with Blake. You know, I helped on the Paris record, and we've been writing new Paris stuff with Lynn. And I go in and out of the studio with Blake. There's a few other artists that we worked with. There's this girl named Victoria Celestine who we wrote an EP for, and she's just put out music. And then there's this girl, Alyssa Bernal, who's like a YouTuber person, and we just wrote her first single and worked with her. So, like, we get with artists and, like, we kind of just like write songs and, you know, help them out. And then Paris was one of those, but it ended up becoming so much more because it was Blake's first record he's ever produced by himself, you know? And that was really good experience for him. So, and because Paris kind of like started getting a lot of traction really fast, he's kind of stuck with them and like helped them get their live sets together, make sure all their shit's like good. And yeah, he went to the UK with them and played keys because they needed some help. So it's like weird. We've developed this like weird family with Paris. And when we start touring, we'll probably be touring with them, which will be really, really fun.
Wow, and that would definitely be a great first tour back, if anything.
Yeah, right? It's funny, too. Like, dude, Lynn is so talented. Like, she's so awesome. And she's, like, her first band, it was called, like, something Guillotine. Operation Guillotine, I think. And they, like, opened for us. And, like, she said it changed her life and whatever. And it's like, oh, we're going to be opening for you.
Oh, my gosh. That is absolutely incredible. And wow, I just think of Paris and you guys are going on tour together would blow everybody's minds. And even if people who heard of Paris and maybe they're too young to have not heard of who Versa Emerge or Versa even are, they're just going to blow their minds.
Exactly. It's going to be so much fun. I love this cycle. I love how music works. I love how it works. I just love how awesome they're doing. But, so as far as what I've been up to, I've kind of just been like,
taking time to figure out what I want, because I went through a phase there where I didn't want to do music anymore. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this shit anymore. So I was living in New York, and I moved back to Florida, and like got my first job and was like trying the normal life. And it did not work out.
Come on, what was your job? Come on, we want to know. Where were you working?
I was working at a place called World of Beer. So it's basically just a craft beer bar, but it's all about beer knowledge. So like I had to go to beer school and learn everything about beer that I could possibly learn. And it was actually a really good experience, because I didn't want to just like work at a bar. I wanted to like work somewhere where it was respectable and I could learn something, because I do like learning a lot. And so I learned a lot about beer, and it was great. And now I have all this knowledge, so I liked it. But working at an establishment is just not for Sierra, to put it that way. I'm surprised I quit before I got fired.
How long were you there for?
6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised it lasted that long. It only lasted that long because I was going home with money. But it was terrible. Oh my God, I hate the idea of working, and I hate the authority complex, and people like telling me what to do is a problem. And you know what? I think about it long and hard. I'm like, how am I going to make it in the real world if this music stuff doesn't work out? And the answer is I won't.
And that's hilarious. And did you? Because I think I've seen you tweet, or you've retweeted something. You're a fan of Tyler, the Creator, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you hear his story recently? I think he was on Fallon or Kimmel, and he discussed about how when he used to work at Starbucks and how he got laid off.
I didn't see that.
Well, I think you'd appreciate that. You could check that out. And anyone who's listening, definitely check that out. It's an interesting story, even if you're a fan of his or not. But I appreciate you sharing that story, because a lot of fans and a lot of people just assume, okay, you sign a major label, oh, okay, you get $1 million, and you go tour the world, and you're like, oh yeah, they're fine financially, but that's the harsh reality.
No, like, and we didn't, like, Versa never, like, whatever, we had a great run, but we weren't doing it for money, and I never, ever gave a shit about money, ever, but now I don't want to live in my mom's house forever, so I have to, like, make some money, and people seem to think I'm rich. Like, I got a comment on my Instagram the other day, someone's like, wish I was rich so I could do what you do. I'm like, I'm kayaking out in the water. The water's free. It's just sitting there. And these kayaks, I don't own them, like right. And people always ask me, how do you like do what you do? Because I've been traveling a lot too. That's also what I've been doing with my time. I've been traveling a lot, like out in California for a few months. I was out in Colorado for a few months, like just traveling. And I don't have money. It doesn't take money to do those things. It just takes not caring. Yeah. It takes like, you have to get rid of your comfort, and you have to like just want it. And I like want to travel so bad that I will couch crash, and I will get a job temporarily and like do something, just to travel around.
Wow. What was your best and worst job in your time off?
World of Beer definitely was the worst, and it's not because it's a bad establishment. I can't follow rules very well, so I was getting in a lot of trouble. And working at a bar is also, you're surrounded by alcohol. So that's a thing. And, but okay, so I was just out in California. Raul Gonzo, he shoots all of our music videos. Mm-hmm. I was like, hey, I'm going to come stay with you for a while. He was like, what's a while? And I was like, I don't know, maybe a few weeks. And I ended up like living at his house for like 3 months, which was awesome. And so for that time being there, he got me a internship at his production company. Mm-hmm. And because I worked on a few music videos with him before, just like helping out and whatnot, and I really fell in love with it. I love production. I love being behind the scenes and like making things come to life. It is so much fun. So he got me this internship, and I got to do like some real production work and like work on commercials and a bunch of music videos, and like learned a lot, and that was a lot of fun. That was a good job.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was. It's fun to be behind the scenes. I really haven't had that many jobs. And I didn't have many jobs in high school because I was literally like in theater, so I was always in rehearsals, voice lessons, dance classes. So I didn't ever get a job in high school. So these were my first jobs, which is kind of weird to admit, but it's true.
but going back to your Fueled by Ramen era, I'm just curious. So you have so what would you say was like your most memorable experience, your memorable time being in Versa Emerge in that era of your life?
I mean, touring, playing shows. Like, if there's one thing I've kind of came to realize of trying to maybe get, like, deciding if I want to do music or not, there's one thing I've realized: I live to perform. Like, that is my most happiest moment. That is the place where I belong. That's where I feel in my element. That's, like, me, is on stage. Those are always the most memorable moments. I love being on stage. I love singing. I love the connection between the crowd and me, and it's just the best feeling in the entire world. That is the most memorable moment.
And you did some incredible stuff. I just remember off the top of my head, I remember you did that song with Professor Green, and who's huge. He's a huge recording artist. You did that video with him, and that was a commercial, wasn't it?
There was a commercial as well, yes, for Relentless Energy. That was, like, that's also fun. Like, it's weird to think about. Just a few years ago, like, people, like, Professor Green asked me to sing on the song. I'm like, who's Professor Green? And next thing I know, I'm getting flown out to London and shooting this commercial, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? This is so much fun. Like, that kind of opportunity is so much fun. I love that.
And
those are good.
That was incredible. I remember watching that. I was like, holy crap, seeing that. And I remember weren't you also the spokesperson for Payless Shoes, right? That must have been a pretty nice paycheck.
Yes, that was definitely fun. That was, again, like, yeah, a lot of opportunities came our way. That was so much fun. Like, they filmed us in the UK while we were touring. They filmed us there. And then they wanted to film something for, like, the new season. They're like, oh, well, where's a place that you've always wanted to go? And I was like, well, I love the desert. I love Joshua Tree, and there's a bunch of cool stuff out in the desert that I've always wanted to see. And they're like, all right, and just made this week-long trip where we traveled through the desert, and they filmed us in, like, this whole ad campaign, and I got, like, my dream vacation out of it. Like, it was so much fun.
Please tell me that, like, I remember when I randomly found out because I was walking the mall one day. I walked past Payless, and I just see, like, no way. And I think I saw a huge cardboard cutout. Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I'm not the only one who said this. Like, did any of your friends or family be like, I'm in the mall, I just saw, like, a cardboard cutout of you?
Yes. Yeah. My dad went to one. He was like, hey, when this is done, save that poster for me. And so he has it and whatnot. Yeah, that was funny. It was weird to be in a mall or, like, see a Payless. I'm like, oh, there's me in the window there. You could see that in any town. Like, Blake lives in this really small town in Florida, and we drive by the Payless, and I'm just, like, in the window. So it's pretty funny.
So I want to know, so really after this now, so I know you're enjoying your time off, you're still in Florida, and I know Blake's off with Paris at the moment, but when can we expect...
He's actually home now.
Oh, he's home now, okay.
Yeah, we're actually moving to Brooklyn in, he thinks 5 days. I'm going to say maybe 10.
Wow, so that soon.
Yeah, like okay, so this is the lowdown. Basically, he did the Paris record, and I've kind of just been at home, kind of, that's another job I didn't mention. I roof with my father. That's fun. So, yeah, we've kind of been doing our own things, and then he was like, hey, you ready? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm ready. And he's like, okay, I just bought a studio in Brooklyn. And I was like, what? Okay, let's do this. So he, not a studio to live at, but like a studio to set up his all of his gear and stuff to start recording. Because he records out of his parents' house. Because it's just, it's cheaper than to, why waste money? So we've always recorded albums, like, we've done everything at his parents' house where his studio is. But it's gotten to that point where, like, there's just no inspiration left for us. So we get in the studio and we're like, I don't know. Like, it's just hard to get motivated especially because he's a night owl. We have to be like aware of the people that are also living in the house, so it can't be loud all night. So he was like, I'm gonna get a studio in Brooklyn. Let's move there. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, let's fucking go. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to the UK June 12th, and then when I get back, we'll go. And I was like, yeah. So we have like very we have plans, but they're so like broad, and I love it because we're just gonna go, and we have nowhere to live. We don't know what we're gonna do, but we're just gonna go. And he's like, the 20th, does that sound good? I'm like, 5 days? Yeah, okay, here we go. So that's happening.
Yeah, and you don't have anybody, you don't have an A&R, you don't have a director down literally calling you every day saying, okay, where's this record? Okay, when are you going to record? When is this coming? And that's the beauty of it now, that you're in control of your own destiny now. We
are in control of our destiny, so that is true. We have to control it. That's the thing. I think there's been so much time of us like, what do we want? And I'm like, I don't know. What do we want? Like, do we want to release these songs that we really love, that we've been sitting on for like 3 years now, or do we scrap everything and just start over? Do we like do a Versa like one last show? Because to be honest with you, this is gonna make everybody fucking cringe, but to be honest with you, I think we're changing our name and just starting from scratch. And
again?
Yep. Yeah.
What is the reason why? Because this is the third name of the band now. But so what's happening?
Well, Blake called me and he's like, hey, and he was acting kind of weird, and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, I could tell he wanted to tell me something. And he's like, let's change the name. And I was like, oh. And when Blake has a plan, when Blake has an idea, when Blake has a thought, like, he doesn't say, like, I will just say shit before I even think about it, you know? Blake thinks about something thoroughly, and until he's sure, he will say it. So when he says something, I know he's sure, and I know that's going to happen. So when he mentioned it, I was like, I guess that's happening. And you know, I'm indifferent. I think it's a good idea. I feel like there's a lot of history attached to Versa. You know, people are like, is it Versa Emerge? Is it Versa? Like, nobody it knows what's going on. So it might just be better for us to, you know, just start over. We're still going to release, like, the songs, Another Atmosphere, and, like, these songs that we really love that we've had for a while. We're still going to put those out. But, yeah, we're probably going to change our name and just be a whole new band so it doesn't confuse anybody.
And when it comes to when you finally come back and you play live, I'm assuming that you're not going to be playing anything old. It's going to be a whole new project.
Yes. We won't be playing any Versa Emerge stuff. And we also will not be playing Versa stuff. We will be playing Wonderlust and Illusion and Neon. Those songs will be a part of this project. Like, we're taking those songs with us because we really love them, and I think it has the sound that we like. You know, especially Wonderlust, like, we really love that song. We're like, this is like kind of what we feel like making. And we have a few other songs that we haven't released that we're going to. So those 3 songs will be coming with us, but yeah, like No Consequences and all the Versa Emerge Fixed at Zero stuff, that's in the past.
But there will be one final show. There will be, like, a goodbye. There will be a last record.
Probably not.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know, it's weird. I actually mentioned to Blake, I was like, what about, say, 2 years' time? What if we did a Versa Emerge reunion? Like, how crazy would that be? He wasn't really into the idea.
And, well, way to ruin the conversations here.
Yeah, I know. Hey, maybe he'll change his mind in time. I think that would be very fun.
Yeah, definitely a reunion. Or if you guys said, come when the anniversary of Fix a Zero, you said, hey, it came out like 5-10 years ago. Let's play it in its entirety in Florida or New York.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So just to make things clear, there's not even going to be one final Versa record. There's not going to be a final Versa Emerge record. It's moving forward. You're going to be going into a new project.
Yes.
Wow. Well,
You're really getting the lowdown.
Yeah, we're really getting the lowdown, and I completely appreciate that. So I feel like, obviously, I'm going to edit some of this out, but I feel like the first part of the conversation where you said, like, this is what's going to happen is kind of like, we can cut that all out now. Because, like you said, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen. It's like, oh, but that's not really going to happen now.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll do some tweaking, but that's definitely interesting to know. That's interesting to know, but I guess
I'm glad to shed the light on it because I it's hard to write about. It's hard to like write up this whole explanation and post it for everybody to read, and it's just like I can't be bothered really to do it, and it's just there's so much to explain, and I feel like people deserve an explanation. We've been quiet about it because I don't know, we just didn't really know how to put it out there, so it's nice to like say all of it and get it out. I feel like I'm releasing.
it's good to vent.
It is good to vent, and it was a touchy subject because we didn't want to burn any bridges or like blame anybody or talk shit, and that's not like what I want to do or be about. So
what happened?
And I already, yeah.
Well, I guess that's really everything I wanted to ask you. I guess. So.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Can I also plug Critter really fast?
No, you can absolutely not plug Critter. I was expecting you to talk shit about Fueled By Ramen for the last 30 minutes, but I am totally kidding, by the way. But no, yeah, absolutely. Was there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, a lot of people were like, "Oh, what's Critter? What is this? Are you leaving Blake? Are you guys not doing music anymore?" It's like Critter's just for fun. It's just a release since we haven't released any music. Like, I have to sing, like I have to do something like that creative. So I just made Critter to like release some songs, and I just put out a song recently with a video, and it's all very like low key, like homemade style. But I put out one song. There's another song coming out in a few weeks.
And I think you're selling yourself short a little bit, Sierra, because didn't you do a book?
Oh, I wrote a story for a book, yes, called Tiny Humans. A good friend of ours named Kayla, she was raising money for this boy who lives in Cambodia for his education. So yeah, she asked me to write a story for a book, and I did that. And I don't think there's any books left. It was like a pretty small print, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. See, I do shit. I do stuff.
Yeah, man. But besides selling beer and doing roofing, you're doing some stuff.
Yes, not just beer and roofing. I have been writing a lot of music on the side, and I just feel like I don't post about it, so everybody thinks I'm playing all the time, but like I am in the studio and writing music and doing all that. I guess I just don't share it as much.
I guess it's kind of a weird question asking as well, because but just because most people, obviously, they see your Instagram pictures, they see you, let's say, you're in the ocean, you're kayaking, but so just tell me like a typical day in the life of you. So just tell me about that.
A typical day in the life of Sierra.
Yes.
Well, I wake up and I go, thank God I woke up today. I honestly, right now, I'm all about being outside. Like, I just want to be outside and enjoying the world. So a lot of camping. I go kayaking. I ride my bike a lot. I feel like when you know a transition's coming, mm-hmm. So you really you feel it. Like, I know a transition's coming, and I'm gonna have to sit my ass in a studio for a very long time, and that's not the funnest. It's fun to be in a studio and working on music, but you sit there and it's just, you're stuck inside, and the world is so fucking beautiful, and I just want to be in it all the time. So when I wake up, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do today? I'm gonna go kayaking. I'm gonna go ride my bike. I'm with my best friend Terrell right now, and
hey, Terrell.
Say hi, Terrell. And I'm sure a lot of people are gonna know Terrell because there's a picture of us kissing on my Instagram. But we are gonna go swimming, or probably gonna go kayaking. Like, we just want to be outside. And I'm drinking a delicious beer right now.
Did you buy that from the World of Beer?
I did not, but I should go buy some beer. So, a day in the life is being outside, enjoying the sun, and having a delicious craft beer and a good story to tell, and friendship, and enjoying it and soaking it up as much as I can, because I'm about to move to New York and be in a dark studio living the night owl life, writing music, which will hopefully be out this year.
That's awesome. And I'm so excited to hear that you're finally getting back to it with Blake and under a new moniker. And I'm sure the world's excited to hear what's yet to come from you guys. This is awesome.
I'm really I am impressed that some people stuck around. I know everybody's like, what have you been doing? But there's still people that are there and waiting patiently, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. And I guess really wrapping up here, because obviously Versa Emerge was part of that Fueled by Ramen world. You were in that the lighter side of that alternative world. Do you still keep in contact? Do you still listen to music in that genre? Because you played a lot of shows with a lot of big artists back in the day.
Yeah, my music taste is definitely a little different now. I don't I haven't abandoned it. I still know it's on, I guess, but we aren't in that scene as hard, and I feel like I don't listen to it as much just because you grow up and your taste changes. But I'm definitely aware, and I listen to some new stuff. Some guys that used to follow Warped Tour called I the Mighty. Mm-hmm. They used to follow Warped Tour and had me plug them and wanted me to listen to the record and stuff. And they were fans of Versa, and they just put out a record that's pretty awesome. I actually sang on a song with them. And so I've listened to that and some of the stuff they've showed me. But no, I still try to stay in there a little bit. But my music taste is definitely different.
No, I bet. You're getting older, of course. It's weird if you listen to the same thing your entire life. So yeah, it makes sense. Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of kids go through that, and people will transition with us, and that's why I think they'll what we're making now. And obviously Paris is still in that world and stuff, and we're involved in that and stuff.
Absolutely. I love that record. There's not many records that really jump out at me, but that was just an incredible release.
It turned out really good. I'm so happy for them. It turned out so good. And, like I said, Lynn is just super talented.
Yeah, and it shows in the record. And you're completely right about music taste. Back when I was growing up, I used to listen to nothing but pop rock. I used to listen was Die Hard and punk and hardcore punk. But then now, the older I get, all I listen to nowadays is pop music. And I feel like I'm getting younger with my music taste.
Yeah, I used to listen to, vocals that were guys singing very high and loud, mm-hmm. And now I hear it and I'm I can't do it. I want chill vocals. And when I listen to music, I'm mainly listening for vocals. So I think that's why my music taste has changed so much, just because I'm looking for a certain vocal style, mm-hmm. and it's just not there. But it is around. It's in a different world.
And I'm sure we'll all see that. We'll see that when you finally make it to Brooklyn, you spend that time with Blake again, and we'll see what happens. And I'm stoked for it. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk, Sierra. I really do appreciate it. And we can't wait to hear more from you.
I'm glad that you're excited to hear, and I'm glad that now some part of the world is going to know what the hell is going on with us.
Awesome. Well.
Oh, another thing. A friend of mine that I met on Warped Tour back in the day, his name's Nick. He actually hit me up, and we've been sending each other demos back and forth, and we are starting a band. So that will be another little side project coming out at the end of the month.
I'm listening.
He hasn't told me what we're gonna call it yet, but it's like a garage punk rock, not punk rock, but garage, really lo-fi kind of feel. So there'll be music coming from every angle.
Well, we'll leave it open-ended with 2015. I think that's safe to say, right?
Yes. The thing is, it's wherever we are, it's going to be music. And if people want to hear us, me and Blake, making music, it's going to be happening. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that excites people.
Well, I'm stoked. And again, thank you so much again, Sierra. I'm going to let you get back outside. I think I'm going to do the same too. But thank you so much for your time today. And looking forward to the future.
Of course, no problem. Anytime you want to talk, I am here.
So there's the interview that Jon did with Sierra. Jon, you did a great job.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and if you want to listen to more Pup Fresh podcast episodes, be sure to go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PupFresh. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Just search the Pup Fresh Podcast on your podcast app on your iPhone, because you have that app, whether you know it or not. And check us out on SoundCloud if you're one of those people who uses SoundCloud, because we're on there too. Also, Jon doesn't want to plug himself, but I'll plug him for you. Check out Alter the Press. They're on Twitter. They're on alterthepress.com. They're bigger than Pup Fresh is, and Jon is a great person. Jon, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, man. I had a really good time doing this. Let's definitely do it again sometime. Let's make it happen.
We'll definitely do it again in the future. Tweet us if you like the interview, at Pup Fresh, at Alter the Press. Compliment us. Don't tell us that you didn't like it, because we don't want to hear that shit. We want to hear that you enjoyed it, that this was a cool thing, that you want to look forward to hearing it again in the future. Why? Because our self-esteem isn't that high, and we need you to feed our ego a little bit. Am I accurate in saying that? No, I'm just joking around. And I'd plug Versa, but you already know who they are. That's why you're listening to the podcast. You wouldn't be listening to this because you want to hear me talk. You want to, well, maybe you'd listen to it because you want to hear Jon talk because he has a really cool accent. But other than that, you know...
It's the Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast!